what's up everybody? This is Joey. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing well today, okay? I wanted to do something a little different today, and this was an idea that was given to me by Alex Su. I thank you so much for asking me to do this. I really appreciate it. And today I'm going to be talking about how or why I started reading tarot. And also I'm going to throw into because it also ties it relates to this subject of why I stopped following any organized religions. All right, first and foremost, I want to say that the information I share with you in this video is not to, disrespect anybody when it comes to your personal religion and your personal religious beliefs or your personal spiritual beliefs. It is not to disrespect you or to try to trigger you in any way, because this is about my life. This is about my path and how I got to where I am today and what I believe today. This is based on my personal experience, and we all have different experiences and we all have different paths to live in life and to go down in life, and we all have different things that resonate with us and things that will not resonate with us. Okay, so just keep that in mind. This is about me and this is not about you. Okay, it is not about invalidating your personal beliefs. Okay, so let's get started with how or why I started reading tarot. Okay, first let's start with how long I've been reading. Okay, I've actually started reading when I was around 16 years old or so. I can't recall what attracted me to tarot cards back then in that particular moment, but I can say that I've always had an attraction or affinity to divination tools, metaphysics, magic, energy work, and spirituality. Okay, keep in mind that when I use the word spirituality, things like that, I'm referring to a natural connection that we have with higher power, or the universe, the cosmos, nature, etc., and not specifically not talking about any religion or organized religion or whatever you want to call it. Okay, it was something that I knew that I would inevitably get into on my spiritual path. I knew it was a part of my journey and who I was. Going back to my childhood, I've always been the reserved and quiet type of person. Okay, I would be the type that could sit in a room full of people and observe everything that was happening without really trying. In a sense, I never really felt a part of the crowd. I never felt like I belonged to any group or any crowd or any cliques, anything like that, because I just felt different. I felt different than everybody else. I just felt like a fish out of water. I felt like I was from like a different planet or something. I really didn't feel like I connected to what was going on around me or the people that were around me. My head and my experiences were completely on a different level than my peers and people who were my age. Even some of my family members who were around me at that time, I just couldn't relate. I knew with because I remember at night I used to go outside and look at the stars and ask to go back home. I just felt that I was from somewhere else. I really felt different. I knew with spiritual things, I know people might laugh or whatever, but you have to expand your mind, because a lot of this stuff might go over certain people's heads if you're not open-minded, if your mind can't grasp or process the things that I'm gonna say, and that's okay. We are all on different paths and different levels and phases of our lives at this time, so not everyone's gonna understand what I'm talking about. Okay, I just knew with the spiritual things I was experiencing as a child and the way that I felt, I knew that I had to keep it to myself for that specific reason, because a lot of times when people don't understand certain things, or when they don't experience certain things, like let's say for instance, if I have a dream, a prophetic dream that events played out in my dream, and then I wake up and then the same exact events play out, some people will not be able to understand that. Some people just won't get it, and they will automatically think you're crazy or something, or that you're making it up. So that's why I just kept a lot of things to myself, because a lot of people around me would not be able to fathom what, the things that I was experiencing or the things that I was seeing at that time, because the majority around me were not really in a mental or spiritual space to ever understand anything that was taking place in my life spiritually. As I recall, some of my earlier spiritual experiences I've gone through helped shape my beliefs that I have today. At an early age, I started having dreams that will reveal things like information that was previously hidden from me about personal things in my life, on down to things about people who were around me at the time, like what they were thinking, what they were going to do, what they were doing, etc. I would even have dreams of having powers that were not present in my waking life. People would also visit me in my dreams and just reveal information to me that I had been wanting to know or needing to know, and this is all things that were there or that were in place to help me along the way. Okay. And it was nothing like nothing malicious, you know what I'm saying? Like nothing, like I wouldn't receive information to be malicious to other people. And even if I picked up information about people that was embarrassing, or that was something that they didn't want people to know about, stuff like that, I always kept it to myself, and I still do that to this day. I keep things to myself because what good is that going to do to me? I'm not that's not the kind of person that I am, deep down. That's not me, I had dreams also of chatting with people in far off places that I've never been before, or not in this life, that I haven't been. One time my mother even witnessed me speaking in foreign languages while I was sleeping, but so things like that will happen to me often, but spiritual gifts and supernatural types of occurrences were common in my family. So I'm sure she wasn't too surprised about it, when it happened. But and it's like some people may feel that this is something scary or traumatic to a child, but for me at that time, it was just natural, One time I remember preparing to go out of town to stay the weekend with some relatives, and I wanted to take my board game with me. It was a Monopoly board game. I just like, oh my God, I need to take this game with me. I need to take it, and so we can play it there with my cousins or whatever. But I couldn't find it. So I had searched all over the house and still couldn't find it. As a child, this was extremely important to me. So it was like, oh my God, my world is ending. I can't find my Monopoly game. It's over, And I was super stressed. Like I had to find this game like now, but after searching for hours without any success, I went to sleep that night, and in my dream, one of my aunts came to me, and she said that, this is someone who's still alive, right? She came to me in my dream and told me the exact location of that board game. She said, look underneath your mother's bed in the corner up against the wall. So when I woke up, I went right to the spot where the game was hidden, and there it was, and I later found out that my uncle had been cleaning the house and moved the games to that exact spot. So, but at that time I was like, wow, that was pretty cool. I thought that kind of stuff was cool because it just resonated with me, and it was natural. It just felt natural to me, And that is where things started really changing for me, Now, don't get me wrong, I had lighthearted moments like this a lot, but I also had some darker occurrences, darker things that happened to me too as well. But I'm not really going to delve into too much into that, in this video. Okay, I might do a separate video about stuff like that. But these spiritual occurrences also progressed on to me having like outer body experiences, more visions, hearing information, picking up on feelings from people and places, sleep paralysis, and the list goes on. I'll also touch on those in later videos as well, but to give you guys more background, I grew up in a Baptist household. Although my father was never religious, and he was more like a free spirit type person, he was more like into like Eastern philosophy type stuff, and the Eastern philosophy type way of living. So even though I wasn't at church every single Sunday, church was in the background. Ideas like heaven, hell, sin, Satan, etc. were all like indoctrinated in my household. while in primary school, at a super early age, on my own, I started studying Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and it progressed to other religious beliefs or philosophies in my later years. I just had a natural affinity to learn about different cultures and religions at an early age. I knew this wasn't the norm for kids my age, but I had a balance between being a kid and delving into more spiritual and religious subjects. It eventually became something that was natural for me because of my natural curiosity. Having studied various religions and philosophies, going to churches and temples, etc., I finally realized that religion was not my path. Like it just didn't. It was not it. It was not it for me. It was not working for me at all. I didn't resonate with it. I didn't get anything from it. It just was just like wasting my time. Like I felt bored. I felt like, okay, this is not it. It's just not doing it for me. I'd read and study and attend services and still felt empty and unfulfilled. I would always ask, like, what the hell am I doing here and why am I wasting my time? And this is like after going to numerous different churches. I would go to churches with like my teachers. I go to churches with my friends, different churches. I go to church with my mom, my aunts, uncles, different churches, and I still felt the same way. And I also realized that none of them really explained what I was going through spiritually in my life. None could really explain why I had prophetic dreams or why I just knew things that I was never taught. And none of them really helped me in developing them either. And out of guilt of hearing things like this is of the devil and this is evil, etc., I shied away from my natural spiritual gifts. I began believing the fear that some of these people around me felt about who I was naturally, And by the time I entered high school, I was fighting between my affinity and attraction to what can be called the occult or metaphysics and things like that. Ooh, I know that sounds really, really spooky. Ooh. And between mainstream religion. That is when I started using tarot to tap into my intuition, which I didn't know what I was doing at that time, and that's what it was at that time, but it just all fell into place for me. I felt that the universe was guiding me and telling me that, hey, it's time for you to start, delving more so into your intuition so that you can help guide yourself along life, And I think I wasted a lot of time by living in fear, and I've missed out on tons of opportunities by living in fear. By not following the guidance that I was receiving at that time and allowing myself to, explore spiritually like that. I have found it super easy to read cards and tap into that knowledge. I had gotten extremely good in a short period of time that some of my older relatives would come to me for readings. They would ask me things about relationships and people in their lives. And at the time, I was super innocent. I didn't really fully understand why they were worried about relationships and people and these adult issues, but I was still good at helping them gain clarity on issues that they were having, And at this time, I had friends from all walks of life, right? All walks of life and all religions and spiritual practices. I had friends who were Muslim, Santeros, Catholic, Christians, Hindu, Wiccans, etc., And at some point during this time, I let certain family members guilt me into fear, again, with their own personal religious beliefs and hang-ups. So over the years, I had gone through so many tarot cards. I will go through the phases of buying tarot cards and throwing them away out of guilt. Buying tarot cards and throwing them away out of guilt. I wasted a lot of money. I will tell you that. I've also had Ouija boards too, but I will tell you that I'm not really into Ouija boards. When they got thrown out, when the first one I had got thrown out, that was it. I didn't bother with it anymore because that's just not my thing. Okay. Things didn't change for me until I started accepting my natural gifts and who I was physically, personally, ancestrally, and spiritually. I had to get back down to basics and understand that most of my ancestors did not have these religious beliefs and hang-ups that seemed to that seemed limited to me, you know. And another thing too, like a song that comes to my mind that can sum things up or give you guys a better perspective on this situation or what I felt, was a song by Fiji, an artist called Fiji. It is called Indigenous Life. So if you guys ever check out that song by Fiji, Indigenous Life, it will give you an idea of what I'm talking about, you know. There's another song by Kaikena Scanlon that is called Hekanaka. That one also as well will sum up things and how I felt, you know. But yeah, let's get back on to these religions seem to put limitations on my life and stop me from being who I naturally was, you know. I was always told that if I delved into divination and any other spiritual practices that my ancestors all did, you know, that I would go to hell, you know. And my question in return would be like, so are you saying that all our ancestors who knew nothing of Christianity are in hell today? You know, I will always counteract it with that, like, so I mean, make it make sense, you know what I'm saying? Because right now it's not making any sense. So the religions or spiritual practices of my ancestors, they had their own way of connecting, you know, to the earth, to the cosmos. They had their own way of doing that. And who is anybody to say that what they believed in and how they connected was wrong for them? You know what I'm saying? What's right for you may not be right for me. You know, we're all individual people. We all have different ways to connect to a higher power, you know, or whatever you want, whatever you choose to call it. We all have different ways to connect. No one should be telling anyone else how to connect, you know? That is how I personally feel. Don't tell me how to connect, and I damn sure is not going to tell you how to connect, you know? I'm going to let you do what resonates with you, and I'm going to expect you to let me do what resonates with me, because it's not going to change. Nothing's going to change anyways, you know what I mean? Because I'm still going to do what I want to do and what resonates with me and follow my own path, you know, my own ancestral lineage and whatever was passed down. I'm still going to follow that, you know? So anyways, like, this whole rhetoric and this whole philosophy just made no sense to me whatsoever. And it never sat well with me either, you know? It just seems so negative and full of fear, you know, and that was something that did not sit well with me, right? If I felt at that time that if I'm going to resonate with anything, it's going to be out of love, you know, it's going to be out of acceptance. It's not going to be out of someone trying to beat fear into my head. I'm not with that, you know. I just can't do that. That's just not me, you know. I knew this was not my path and did not speak to my soul, you know. I knew that I had to let go of what did not resonate with me and move along the path that was truly set for me. You know, I could not follow any doctrines or philosophies that were fear or guilt based. My ancestors, spirit guides, higher self, etc. spoke to me and urged me to let go of the fear and restriction and move along my path that I needed to be on, go with what resonated with me. You know, I needed to be free to explore who I was in this life and my importance within the whole grand scheme of things, right? Yes, people may find me weird, you know, because I do my own thing, you know. Yes, people may not be able to understand me. Yes, people may not be able to see things how I see them. Yes, people may not resonate with my personal path. But you know what? Who cares? This is my path, my life, and my story. We all have different paths in life. And it's up to us to accept this and embrace who we are. You know, today I fully accept who I am and realize that I am a spiritual being living a human experience, right? I equate my spiritual self with my spiritual practices. I correlate the human experience with religion because it's man-made, you know? And I know that I am more than this earthly form. I was meant to experience more than I have in the past. I am more powerful than I allowed myself to be in the past. I can no longer allow myself to follow outdated beliefs that do not resonate with me. And I will go on record to say that I do not follow any organized or man-made religions because that's not who I am or who I aim to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do not need a religion to help me connect to a higher power. I can do that naturally. I do not need a religion to tell me what's right and what's wrong because I intuitively and naturally know what is right and what's wrong. It's just common sense. Some of us have something that is called common sense, right? And I have common sense, street smarts, all that stuff, and I apply that to my daily life, and I have a conscience, and I have a connection to my higher self and a connection to spirit, connection to a higher power that tells me and shows me what is right and what is wrong, So I don't need a book, I don't need a group, I don't need a congregation to tell me what is right and wrong, That is how I personally feel. I also respect everyone for their religious beliefs and expect that in return. I do not force my beliefs onto others, nor do I allow others to force theirs onto me. As a matter of fact, I never bring up, those subjects or speak on those unless people ask me, I know that we are all here to walk different paths. Some of us are meant to lead while others are meant to follow. There's nothing wrong with either path, but I know that I was not meant to follow anyone, especially people who I don't, or philosophies that I don't resonate with. I was meant to learn, find my own way, and lead and help those who need help finding their own way as well. To sum it up, this journey is why I chose to read tarot. Tarot is a tool, or merely pieces of paper that help trigger your intuition and help you connect to your subconscious to pull information. Your intuition and subconscious are connected to all there is and will be. I use it to help me better my life, to help me make decisions and empower my life as well. I use it to also help others make better decisions and empower their lives as well. I don't use it for show or for the superficial, but to actually help people heal, receive clarity, and move forward in their lives. And today, I'm not a quote-unquote tarot reader, but I am a spiritual being who reads tarot, or who uses tarot to connect to my intuition. Okay, so I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys like this type of video. I'm going to be doing more like this as well, sharing you guys my personal experiences and delving into things like out-of-body experiences, sleep paralysis, different spiritual gifts, and how I actually helped improve my own. I'm going to be sharing stuff like that, etc., etc. So if you guys have any suggestions on topics you'd like me to talk about, let me know as well if you're still here. I know this video is kind of long, but I had to tell my story, so whoever's meant to hear this will hear it. Okay, I know that. Much love and light to you all. Much aloha. Thank you guys so much. Mahalo to you guys. Fa'afetai to everybody who tuned in, and peace. Ciao.